Let us see what is this concept called commitment, and then how do we define it? What is the model of organizational commitment? That means what is the theory? Then what are the antecedents are called factors contributing to commitment? Then what are the outcomes of commitment called consequences? Then how to develop commitment among employees? This is every manager's challenge anyway. Even in my workplace, president and vice presidents very frequently say that how people, I want people to be loyal to this organization. Then I would always react, why should they be loyal to your nation as long as they are working? Is our nations loyal to the employees? Reverse, is you think management is loyal to the employees? Never ever I have seen. If managers are not loyal to the employees, why employees should be loyal to the organization? Is always a challenging question to me. So therefore, let us move slowly. Why organizational commitment is an important topic. We had seen that globalization is where there are no barriers across the world. People can go around, people can exchange, people can sell, people can share. Uh, it's become, it's like the whole world has become a small village. That's the meaning of globalization anyway. So globalization is the whole world coming to convergence. So people can exchange, people can share, people can sell, people can buy across the world. People can move across the world. You can settle down wherever you want. You can go wherever you want to and work there. That's what the meaning of globalization. Now we have gone to the extent of globalization that I would say it's because of globalization the pandemic had spread. I don't think anybody would have talked about that idea. Just because of globalization, this pandemic had spread across the world. If there was no globalization, there would have been restrictions on people's movements around this world. And as a result, this pandemic would not have spread to many countries. And this virus, everybody knows that, wants to survive only in the human body. It's because it cannot survive outside of the human body. That's the plain, simple understanding. So, globalization has created more jobs. Therefore, people can go wherever they want. People can settle down wherever they want in this world. They can jump from one job to the other job, one company to the other company. So therefore, if you expect them to be committed, they would stay with your company for some time. So that's why you should be interested in this topic. Then immigration is also open. People can go and settle down. Then you can still be a non-residential Indian. Then you can also be called expatriates. So expatriates are not immigrants, but they are still Indians. They'll go and work in some companies abroad for 3 years, and from there they'll move to another country along with their families, work there for 3 more years, 4 more years, depending on their contracts. That's how they keep on moving across the world. This group of people are very, very few, and these people's lifestyle is they want to keep moving across the world, and they move entire family along with them. So their children study in different countries. Every 3 years they keep moving from one country to other country. So these kind of people are very, very few in this world. They are called expats. So if you want your employees to stay back with your company, you must expect them to be committed. So what is it you should do as a manager so that they can commit? Now, technology necessitates more talented and more knowledge professionals. Otherwise, you would lose them. So therefore, you must ensure that they are committed to your organization. If you want productivity, quality, innovation in your organizations, you must see that your people are committed. Similarly, finally, the competitive advantage of any company. What does it mean? Through competitive advantage, you can destroy the competition in the market and be the winner. So, competitive advantage makes you win. So, what makes you win? What is competitive advantage for any hospital? It's the employees only. So, therefore, understanding this concept is a very, very important challenge for hospital managers. Commitment, now we are slowly getting into the concept. Commitment is a feeling of responsibility an attachment to the company, and a sense of allegiance, that means devotion to one organization or loyal to one organization. And we have quite a lot of definitions here. You can see Maude, one of his definitions is very, very popular. And I mean, it's not one author. Maude et al. Means there are many more than two authors. So Maude and others, they define commitment as the relative strength of an individual's identification with and involvement in a particular organization. So identification with and involvement in a particular organization is defined as commitment. So there are three important characteristics in this definition. You can see that acceptance of the values of the organization, willingness to put efforts in that organization, and desire to remain with that organization for some time. That's what they defined as commitment. But we still have many more. Galley and White, they use the term commitment to refer acceptance of organizational values and willingness to stay. So if your organization believes in certain values of humanism, values of giving equality, treating people equal, no discrimination, all fair, honesty, truth, these are some of the interesting organizational values. If your company has these values and employees are willing to accept them and willing to stay back. Niehoff and others have defined it as a sense of loyalty to and identification with organization, the work group with which they are, and the work itself to which they belong. So it's a sense of loyalty and identification. You can see how these definitions are varying from each other. Porter and Lawler, Porter and others have defined it as extent to which an employee identifies with his own company, involved in that company's decision making, and loyal to that company. All these three things are put together as commitment according to Porter. But finally, Allen and Mayer's definition is since 1987 until today, that's the default definition for commitment across the world. So he defined as the extent of affective continuance and normative commitment employees have to their organizations. And then affective is adjective of affection. So how much of affection you have for your job. Then continuance, as long as you work, you get paid. As long as you're paid, you continue to work. So that's what continuous commitment. And normative commitment is something similar to loyalty because you have an obligation to stay with this company because when you need a job, this company gave you that job. That's what we call sense of obligation to stay with that company. So now what we will do, we'll just see the model. What we will do now, we will see their theory. It's because, as I told you, there is not a book which deals with this topic. There's not a single textbook which explains you these models. So all these are taken from various journals and put them in PDF form. Now, what is this model? Any model for that matter, you should have what is called antecedents, that means causes, then consequences, which are the outcomes of it. So we'll see what are the antecedents of commitment, what are the dimensions of commitment, and what are the consequences of commitment or outcomes. So for that we have very many models. You can see Maude, Porters, and Steers. They have suggested that a three-stage model in which they say that pre-entry, that is anticipation, early employment, initiation, and middle to late career entrenchment, they call it. So how people are committed to their organizations? They enter, they're anticipating that they're going to have a bright career in that company. And then based on their anticipation, they initiate it. And then you show them career path. And therefore, they know that one day they are going to become vice presidents of that company. So therefore, they decide to stay back. That's called entrenchment. There are many more actually. You can see here there's one model which I worked earlier on this model. I have written I think two research papers on this concept called commitment. So what makes people committed? A good culture and climate, good leadership, team working, and then of course your age also because you have put in so many years in this company, so you are reluctant to leave that company. Then for certain gender reasons you stay back because for females they don't want to leave this company because it is stabilizing them, it helps them concentrate on their families. Then marital status, whether married or unmarried, it depends on, uh, and therefore you are committed. Then there's an interesting concept called LMX, which means leader member exchange. So the relationship that leaders and members have could also be contributing to organizational commitment. And finally, the fairness or justice. Justice in an organization also could be contributing to commitment. Now, what are the consequences or outcomes of commitment? So, higher commitments lead to job satisfaction, life satisfaction, non work satisfaction. That means other aspects of life, that you have relationships, good understanding about life. So, some mentors, you have developed some mentor mentee relationships, and so on. So, those could be called non work satisfaction aspects of life. And finally, reduced turnover intentions. There is a minus symbol. So committed people will have low turnover intention. That means they don't want to quit the job. And finally, they could also be involved in their jobs very high, and eventually your organizations also will be highly effective because of commitment. There may be few more models you can refer to in some internet sources. Models of organizational commitment, if you type, you may come across various uh, flow charts like this, which I have shown you just before. Finally, how to develop commitment among our employees. First point, create a strong teamwork culture. It's a very, very important. Encourage always people to work as a part of team. Create that consciously. Yeah, they'll have a lot of conflicts. They don't want to work as a team, but understand them, help them out, and say that as a team, you will be more productive than as an individual. Let people not suspect anything during your communications with them. So always ensure that things are very transparent, clear, and open in communication. Then build trust among employees. They should trust you and you should trust them. Then encourage innovation so that people love to stay back with that company. Then give very positive, constructive feedback so that people can build and develop. And then always delegate tasks effectively, efficiently, so that you are helping people grow, build up skills, and then one day they should become leaders of that company. Then give them better incentives, because incentives always help people to commit. So that's an important point. So if there are no incentives, I'm sure people gradually lose their interest, and then they will have tendencies to quit the job. So that's it for today.